Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Al. It's so good to see you.
It is so good to see you. Good Wednesday morning. It's Lunch with Al, and this is where I interview
your favorite person.
My favorite
Okay,
person.
good.
Usually I say average people, but you're not average. You
He
are
considers me below
special.
average.
Well,
yes.
I'm not going to say what I consider you because that wouldn't be polite. But most people have a personal health reason for going whole food plant-based, but you're an exception in a lot of other ways.
Exceptional.
Yes, exceptional. Okay. So let me start off with, how long have you been whole food plant-based?
That's a good question, Al. Thank you for asking. Actually, I've been a vegetarian probably longer than your audience. Some of your audience members have been alive. So that's a long time. I became a vegetarian in high school, and I just looked at what my mom had made for dinner one day, and I just said, I can't eat meat anymore. And she goes, well, I'm not going to cook for you. I go, Mom, I'm making 35 cents an hour at Dairy Queen. I can handle my own food. Okay. So then I became a vegetarian, and then about 10 years later, maybe 7 years later, I became a vegan. But it wasn't until the last, let's see, how long have we known each other?
7 years.
So I would say probably the last 10 years that I really focused on being whole food plant-based. And that was huge. Going from vegetarian to vegan, pretty easy. I was kind of a junk food vegan, but giving up all that junk food. But as Michael Pollan says, there's no such thing as junk food. It's either junk or food. So scaling back on that and becoming whole food plant-based, it's made all the difference in the world. And I'm so happy.
And what caused you to become whole food plant-based?
Well, that's really an interesting question too. Thank you for asking that, Al.
I only ask interesting questions.
Did I give you the questions to ask me? Is that why I know? Okay.
Not. You haven't even seen them.
Well, Al, I know you said I don't really have a personal story, but it's very personal to me. My dad died, I always say a massive heart attack. Obviously, if you die of a heart attack, it's pretty massive. Yes. And he died 2 months before he turned 62. Which was really sad because just 3 years prior, he had quintuple bypass surgery, and he thought that was going to take care of all of his heart issues.
No.
Well, if you continue doing the same lifestyle, you're going to clog those arteries even faster than the other ones. So that was a huge thing. And so I really miss my dad every day. I had even offered to pay for him to go to McDougall, and his reasoning was, if I can't eat the way I want, then I'd rather not be here.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh. But anyway, so some people are like that. It's sad to say.
Yeah, no.
And then my mom, in the last 20 years of her life, she had 4 pacemakers put in, not all 4 at the same time, but just constantly a pacemaker put in. She was on 26 medications a day.
You said when she passed away, you had pounds?
6 pounds.
6 pounds.
And she only weighed 99 pounds when she died. This was prescribed medication, not like, oh, I think I'll go get some meth from the local drug dealer. This was from doctors prescribing her all this medication. Yeah. She was on full-time oxygen, a walker. She had nitro right next to her bed. Yeah. Her whole life was going to and from, a doctor, the oncologist, POCD. I don't know these drug terms. COPD. Yeah.
Okay,
whatever.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And so and I don't want that. And I don't want that for my daughters either. I want to have fun. My motto is girls just want to have fun. I want to have fun with my daughters. I don't want them to be taking me to the doctor all the time. But even probably the third and the saddest is that my youngest sister, she died at the age of 52 due to her lifestyle. And she was driving to work one day and she had a massive stroke, obviously, massive stroke and a heart attack. She was put on life support, and then after 3 days, they pulled the life support and she died. And my mom was still alive, and you don't want anyone, you never want to outlive your kids, ever. Yeah. That's just tragic, no matter how old they are. Yeah. So those 3 combinations, and then seeing my other friends and relatives suffer, I just thought I have to do something different. So
at this point in the script, I usually say, what benefits have you received? But let's make it clear to the audience that you basically haven't had any health problems.
No. I mean, is that mental health or is that physical health you're talking about?
We're not even going to go there.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
no.
So I'm going to ask, I'm going to try to see if I can invert the questions.
Okay.
And what benefits have you provided to the community, the whole food plant-based community? Because I know there are a lot, and let me say that I personally have benefit. You were a major stepping stone. You were a major part of my journey, of my restoring my health. And so could you sort of, I know you don't like talking about yourself. I know that.
No, I was very
Just a little
fortunate
bit.
to be asked to teach a class at our local area, our local university here, Sac State University. And they had never had a plant-based class before. So I was doing a demo at the local farmer's market, and someone from Sac State came up and said, would you like to teach a class? And I said, okay, well, is it an hour? She said, no, it'll be 2 hours every week for 12 weeks. And I thought, what the heck? And I said, sure. So I brought in, as you know, because you were in class,
Yes.
I brought in a lot of the plant-based doctors, and we had information and everything. But the one thing I thought was so important, and that I wish my parents could have seen, is that these were, the whole class, they were all older people,
Yes.
Al. It was directed towards members of the Renaissance Society. That's not people who with swords and, you know, that kind of thing. It's not sitting around Camelot. Renaissance meaning, even though when we get older, we still want to keep on learning. So every Friday, I would have over 100 people in every single class. My motto was, it's never too late to go plant-based. And Al, I had Al speak.
I started at 80.
Yeah, exactly. Started at 80. And I wish my parents would have done that.
Yeah.
But I am so glad that and I know the science is very important. I love all these doctors I talk about all the time, Dr. Garth Davis, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Neil Bernard, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Campbell. I love all their research. But to me, when I hear stories like Al's or Esther's, or the students coming up to me and saying, oh, I don't have to take my metformin. Is that what it is? Or, you know, I'm on, okay, right. Or I avoided the stent, or my doctor said I'm clear from my cancer. Obviously, they make me cry, obviously, but it wasn't me, it's them. But they are willing to change their life around, and which I think is huge and very important.
Yes. And so you've done, then we're in her classroom now that she's teaching at Sierra College.
Yes, through Sierra College. That's in Rockland, California. Right. Yes.
Do you miss, probably not, but do you miss any food? In fact, you won't even look at food, eat food if it looks like it's.
Well, I really think I was a vegan starting in 2nd grade when I read Charlotte's Web. Yeah. You know, and I thought, wait. In my mind, I didn't think that bacon and sausage and pork chops, I didn't think that came from like Wilbur. I was just, you know, I didn't get it. I, as you said, I'm not very bright. So I didn't realize it was coming from. I didn't say you weren't bright. I didn't realize it was coming from a live pig. You know, I'm like, wait, what? And then I had this boyfriend in high school, and that's when I decided to become vegan or vegetarian. And he asked my dad, could I take Twyla to this really fancy restaurant in San Francisco? And now I don't even want my kids going to San Francisco, okay, and they're 30. Yeah. But my dad said, okay, but you have to have her home by such and such. So he took me to this super nice restaurant. I think it was at the top of the Carnelian Room in San Francisco. And he knew I loved lobster, so we walked in, and he said, you get to pick your own lobster. And I'm like, what? He goes, you can pick your own lobster out of the aquarium. I'm like, wait, you're going to, I go, no, that's not happening. I go, I can't eat a lobster. This comes out. And he said, well, how do you think you get lobster? Right then and there, I thought, what have I been doing? You know, I'm like, I can't eat a lobster. So it was probably the cheapest date he ever had, because it was just a baked potato, mustard, and a side of veggies. He's like, man, that's why he dated me for a long time. I was a cheap date. But yeah, maybe that's why I was so popular in high school, because I wasn't very, promiscuous, but I was really cheap.
I know the answer to this, and I want a short answer.
Oh, no, not a short answer.
Yes,
no.
You can't just go on and on. This is supposed to be short. Have you ever been tempted to fall off the wagon?
Well, that's a good question.
I can't ask good questions.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think, what would cause me to fall off the wagon? Sometimes desserts look really, really good to me. But I'm pretty strict. As soon as if I say, is it vegan, and they say no, I'm like,
no,
phew,
I know, but you will not be quite as compliant as I am.
No, if it has a little bit of oil or something like that, that's true. It does.
But you don't really go off the wagon.
No, I don't purchase any oil except for my car. Okay, is that okay? Yeah. I don't purchase any oil to cook with, to saute with, to bake with. I don't use any oil. But if someone they said, oh, Twyla, I made this vegan gluten-free dessert for you. I'm like, okay. I don't ask how much oil or anything like that. If I know it's vegan and I know it's gluten-free, then I'll try it.
All right, last one.
Yes.
If you could just give one suggestion, this is going to be tough, to someone that's thinking about or has already started on the whole food plant-based journey, what would it be?
I would say, to quote Nike, just do it. Just do it, because it's so much fun. Who would ever think? I mean, you know, what do I say? Vegans just want to have fun. Living La Vida vegan. It's great. You meet the best people. And
Yes.
I think I've always been a fan of Stephen Covey's Your Circle of Influence. And my circle of influence, when I'm hanging around vegans and we're talking about, we're going to go volunteer here, we're going to go eat at this restaurant, it's so reassuring to me, instead of, okay, now my gout's acting up. Okay, well, now I got that. I mean, we're just so alive and so energetic.
Positive.
And yeah, the positivity is huge. And the health benefits. As my dad's name is or was Virgil, and I love the philosopher Virgil, yes, because it's my dad's name, but also because his famous quote is, your greatest wealth is your health. And I think that's huge.
Absolutely true.
I love Dave Ramsey and all his financial advice. However, what I want to say to Mr. Ramsey and all you people who follow Dave Ramsey, if you don't have your health, it makes no difference how much money you have, because you're not going to be able to travel around, or you're not going to be able to get on and off the floor with your grandkids. So that's what I think is huge. So Al, as you know, what do we say? It's never too late to go plant-based.
Thank you, Twyla.
Thank you so
Oh,
much. Thank
thank
you.
you.
Great seeing you. I hope to see you again.
All right.